Hello and welcome. Today we've got Damian Langiano and we are going to be discussing child trafficking and human trafficking. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview. Unless, of course, myself and Damian can choose our words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Damian, thank you for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to?
I'm very well, Nick. I really appreciate you letting me on and having a chance to speak to you. I've been focused because of my historical connection to the tech market on the impact of tech on our children, and predominantly as a father more than anything else. You know, this is where we start. I mean, I come with a OpSWAT platinum grade parental control system that's sat at the App Store at this moment in time, which is wardwiz.com, and we'll stick the links at the bottom of that. The parental control would have absolutely offered the children of the Western world the opportunity to be protected. Certainly, you know, my original focus was in the UK and America because I am connected to so many people there. I mean, if you wanted to take the connections, I'm talking from The Rock, Kevin Hart, Mark Wahlberg, Manchester United, the UK government, charities, foundations, you know, we've looked to collaborate and partner with to make sure that we could deliver that message as quickly as we could. Now, historically, I'm a distribution guy. You know, I was one guy, one customer, that customer, 500 people. So, you know, I'm not a social media expert. I'm not a marketing guy. I'm the guy that recognized that I could join the dots and say, listen, we're putting our families into lockdown at that moment in time. We'll make it very difficult for us to be able to educate our children, and we're putting them into a space at this moment in time that isn't policed. We have a software that would afford parents to be able to control and protect themselves online and control and protect the time that child is on there, the access to adult and junior content filters. Do you know what I mean? The situation is that the risks aren't in the adult content filter area per se, even though the graphic nature, and sorry about that, the graphic nature of what our children see in pornography it's the length of time they're on TikTok. It's the length of time they're absorbed in Snapchat. It's the filters and those bits and pieces that are subliminally being messaged into them. And it provides a sense of empowerment back to families now. So what have I been doing over the last 18 months? I've been getting silence. And it's not what people say, it's what they don't say. You know, I'm eloquently, and at the time I would say, if I'm honest, Nick, you would have found me as being a little more aggressive. You know? And it was quite interesting is how people will state to you, well, you're a little bit over the top about this. And I'm going, well, this is children's mental health. I'm not sure how you would expect a father of a shortly to become 11-year-old and a 14-year-old girl who are absolutely immersed into the system of the mobile phone. I mean, we've all been manipulated into that system. How are we meant to react when our children are being mentally abused? And that's the case. You know, I've looked and I have connected with Child Rescue Coalition, the NSPCC in the UK, a couple of other very large organisations. You know, I've even stepped out and pushed out to the Tim Ballards and the underground operations, and I'm looking at this and going, the numbers don't add up, and the sense of engagement doesn't add up. Do you know what I mean? When COVID came for all of us, this was a Dunkirk moment. This was where it was a case of bring the Allied forces together. We've got a virus that's going to be attacking us. Right, DEFCON 4, let's go and protect our children's minds. This wasn't no, you can't come in. I'm going, listen, we got an OpSWAT platinum grade software. It's at the App Store right now. We don't want to talk to you.
So let's focus more on the human trafficking now, and let's focus on how we can battle it, and also the mapping technology that we can track, you know, children who are missing. Let's talk about that. Let's keep the focus more about, you know, solutions.
Oh, listen, totally. I mean, for there I'm laying the swim, and that's exactly where we need to be at this moment in time. So Mobile phone per se itself, yeah, we have a tech at Wolves to be able to deliver that. And as I say, independently assessed. But we move into another tech, and the journey takes you through that. As you meander around trying to find the right people. So I met the guys at Deja Vu that have it's not a face recognition software. It's a digital picture to digital picture software. And the relationship was born from the fact that Google was seeking to do this CSAM focus. So they were, they're looking to, I don't mean to laugh, but when you sit back and you look at the thought process of it, pedophiles are not going to hide their imagery in the iCloud, in the cloud. They're not going to do that. So the tech that they were using was, and the best way to put it was like trying to stop a car with a scaffold park. It would do it if you hit it, but the car's naturally just going to drive around it. So you can put some noise across the front of the pictures. You can move them by a degree. And the tagging system that Google wanted to use, which is an old tech that was thrown out back in 2004, wouldn't find those pictures. Now, we have a digital mapping system that you could spin that picture any way you liked and noise corrupt it, and our digital recognition system can find that picture. Now, that allows us to find children that have been taken and then, listen, forgive me, taken, sold, and then put online. I mean, these people that do this kind of stuff will always trophy that. And it's not even essentially a sense of trophying it. They're as manipulated as everybody else is to put their content online. So the natural thing they're going to do is re-advertise that children back into a digital construct. And we can reverse gear that. Pedophiles themselves or known criminals, we can now find them. If we had access to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all of the other social media platforms, then that technology can go through that and find those digital images, which would mean we'd be finding both the perpetrators and children that are being trafficked into a digital space, which, listen, if we found one child, then it has to be worth it, isn't it?
So absolutely. So is this technology available, and who has it?
My partners at Deja Vu have it at this moment in time. And I'm in that space, Nick, where you fall out of the matrix and it strips you of everything you've got. It's the interesting thing here, which is almost as a sense of, it creates a fear in people moving from a tech-based structure back into, from virtual reality, let's say, back into reality, because you do leave some of your skill sets in there, because technology has taken us over so much that some of the, I'm of an age where I could remember my phone numbers, but a lot of people can't. That's a basic thing. Or if someone says to me, "Oh, can you set up that Telegram channel?" And it's like I go, "Oh no, this seems to be quite difficult for me." Because when I was in an automated position, it was very, very natural. And where else we come with that now? Sorry.
So Damian, tell me more about the technology. Who can use the technology so we can map these children?
Well, we'd be into a situation where we should be listen, firstly, we should be engaged with Facebook. We should be engaged with Instagram. We should be engaged with Snapchat. We should be engaged with TikTok.
When you say engaged, what do you mean engaged?
Well, we should be in partnerip with those people. They should.
Yeah. Okay.
So first and foremost, we should be in a place where the platform says, because essentially, the global community has got to be engaged in this, because you've got to allow those people and allow that tech to go through your pictures. Same as in the iCloud. This is about audience engagement. This is about us all coming together to find those children. Now, straight away, if anyone's saying, "I don't want that tech to be looking at my pictures," well, there's an alarm bell. You're bringing your audience, or you're bringing your potential perpetrator audience down into a smaller space. But the difference was, and the difference is with the tech that we have, is it's so acutely accurate that you're not going to get those dads that have taken a picture of the kids in the bath or down at the sea. There's no sense of, the tech that was being discussed about being used was so, what's the right word? Fluid, that, a lot of allegations could be made that had no credibility at all. And you're looking at managing reputations around that. Get that wrong. Get that wrong and accuse somebody of being a paedophile, and that's something that they are going to carry that stigma for the rest of their life. So you need, in a digital world, in a digital construct, you need accurate structure. So we're in that place at this moment in time where, as I said, coming from coming from that digital construct, this is ground up time now, that this is the right time. I think 18 months ago when COVID was such, and then everyone was in that traumatic space, we're kind of coming through that space now and going, I'm beginning to see a number of issues. What are those issues? How can we solve those issues? Digital trafficking and trafficking itself. The mapping of people's minds will be that they will invariably want to re-show that child, and that child themselves will end up on those particular platforms.
Damian, who has created this mapping technology for children?
Ted Capucin over at Deja Vu.
Sorry?
Ted Capucin at a company called Deja Vu in America.
Right, and what are they doing about it to put it in action?
Well, they're in that space as well, and I think what we have to understand in this space is that I didn't realise that protecting children was such a closed market. It's almost if you're not in the right club, you can't help protect children. Now, I'm a father, and my children are being abused on a day-to-day basis by covert manipulation, cognitive warfare, subliminal manipulation, codependency, and dopamine abuse of the mobile device. I mean, with all due respect, when we look at the real problems, I'll tell you now, if for argument's sake, you pick the number, you pick the highest number of children that are being trafficked physically, and it will be eclipsed by 100 times the amount of children that are being trafficked mentally via the mobile device, and are being, and a sense of codependency is being created into a narcissistic structure, and that's a conversation to have. But these things lead to the same place. People are addicted to the internet. People are addicted to the images that they're seeing. So let's talk about paedophilia really quickly. If you keep advertising barely legal children dressed in a small amount of clothes, you will by natural course start educating your audience. Mm-hmm. If we go back 65 years, 70 years, when Hugh Hefner put the first nipple into Playboy, and the Playboy bunny girls were around and everybody was 30 years old that was advertising stuff, the level of potential for miscommunication and misunderstanding was really, really small. But if you bring everything down to the whole structure of techies now, and the whole structure of visual content is sexualized, there's nowhere to go between the ages of 17 and 13. And the issues that we have now are standard issues. And I'm talking about standard of audience interaction and standard of sales and marketing companies that are using children. Audi have just done a recent advert with a young child stood at the front of a car with a banana in its mouth. I mean, the subliminal messaging to that is horrendous. Audi had to come out and apologize for that. But that's where our marketing issue has gone to. Quickly, let's defend the marketers. If there are 1 billion people shouting at the same time, you've got to do something so extreme to get heard. Now, let's understand that I'm not here to sell tech. I'm not here to even employ Deja Vu. I think what we should be talking about very swiftly is how we can raise the standards of what we're doing, because it's got to come from within. Do you know that sense of coming from? Am I going to continue to watch the Netflixes of the world and the violence that's there and listen to that? No, when you come out of that space, it actually affects your energy. And even communicating about this can affect my energy as well, because our sense of internal construction has been digitalized. Now, we've got lots of people that aren't awake to that element of it, being lost into the phone, being influenced by people, messages hitting them from every conceivable angle. We live in a world of confusion, and we live in a world where parents are being distracted to such a point that their children are falling in love with this. It's the one true love affair that people have now is the mobile device. Mm-hmm. I can look and tell you stories about the NSPCC. I can tell you stories about Child Rescue Coalition. I can tell you the stories about Hollywood and the people that I'm connected there with, and The Rock and Kevin Hart and the producers. But the fundamental problem is that we have an algorithm which is telling us constantly that 16-year-old girls and the devil and swearing and eating fast food and chucking litter on the floor is what we're meant to be doing. And it's to revert. So,
Damian, what is the main message today that you would like to share with the viewers regarding all of this crammed together?
I think the first structure has got to be is, how can we take control of this device back? Now, the issues that we've got with the organisations that come through, because there's always a problem, cause and solution. I will sit here now and take full responsibility for the Warbwiz platform to make sure you know that your data will not be resold. And the delivery of that OpsWatt platinum grade, that's the highest standard software that you can get for a mobile device, will start the procedure of protecting you and your children. But the engagement is once you've taken some of that power back, because we're sitting in a space at this moment in time where people are saying, well, the government tyranny and everyone's attacking us and this, that, and the other. Listen, all they're doing is monitoring data. Those people won't take a decision. They won't even take any accountability. We need to look at where the data is being harvested. It's being harvested from ourselves. If we can block some of the data that's leaving ourselves, that means we can start to take control of our own mind again and start to look at some of these issues with a perspective of control, some self-control.
Well, I heard that Elon Musk and other good billionaires that I'm hearing who are working on quantum devices, phones, where they're decentralized, they are freedom of speech as well. They can't be hacked. They can't be manipulated.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really interesting point, Nick. I think it's a really interesting point. I would respond to Elon Musk's almost cyborg reflection on, one, the NFT structure that's about to happen out there with the metaverse, and two, the fact that he only sees us merging further into technology. So there's a miscommunication, or there would be any confusion around that with Elon. And you're telling me that we're going to all get freedom of speech? I mean, let's talk about freedom of speech. If all we're ever talking about is negativity and the construct of our communication and lyrical use and word construction is at one-syllable letters, then the freedom of speech becomes angry, it becomes aggressive, it becomes tonal, it becomes disrespectful. We're in a place at this moment in time where I believe society has fallen to such a level, we do need a few boundaries put in place for us, because we're almost like very unruly teenagers at this moment in time, kind of doing whatever we want. And doing whatever we want has got us 9 years away from a climate change disaster, our children's mental health going through the floor, a sense of consumerism, which is just eating up society, and everybody addicted to dopamine, which is what the structure has done. This is about dopamine addiction. This is about screen time. This is about cognitive war. This is about, I want your eyes on here. That film the other day, Don't Look Up. I'm saying to you, download Warbwiz and do look up. Because if you look up, the world's a very beautiful place. And if you look up and you looked at the UK, let's swiftly go back to the trafficking. They say that 305,000 children disappear in the UK every year. Well, that would mean 2.1 million people, including the parents and the two sets of grandparents. Now, Facebook will be flooded with information about pictures of missing children. I don't see that. I see Facebook flooded with the same memes and the same miscommunication.
Well, they support pedophilia. Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, all these, they're all in bed with each other. YouTube.
I think they are. But I think the reality, the truth is that they are grandiose and covert narcissists. And I think the world really needs to start to understand the construct of that. The construct of that is they are just emotionally void, damaged little children, which is what we all are. We've got the kids running the asylum over in America, believing that the algorithms and the data that they are reading from all of the information we're giving them back is creating a system of what we want. It started off with a like button. Tristan Harris in The Social Dilemma stated 25 to 30-year-old white guys could manipulate 2 billion people. He was telling the truth. He was absolutely telling the truth. And then he was telling the truth and he said, but the algorithms are out of control. They tell you as they go along what the problem is. They're in a system where you can look at them and we can discuss the elements of paedophilia. They need control of the mobile device. And I will tell you now that what I've seen and with the construct that I put together and the digital work that I've done, there is an organization that has 600,000 subscribers, but it has 2.6 billion downloads. And that organization is a remote access company, which means pretty much like this, where my wire is. They backdoor every mobile phone. It isn't. I would say this as a conspiracy, or from what I see, the GDPR issues that the European Union has brought in place to bring that sense of protection. Yeah, the American organizations have absolutely looked to be able to slide past that and get into a space where it's taking all of our information. I mean, it is
unfortunately,
yeah.
that is happening.
Yeah.
But Damian Langiano, it's been an absolute honor to have you. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Well, I think it's for me. Listen, this is my brand here, the God's creation stuff that we're doing at the moment in time, which is my desire is to look at this and say there aren't individuals at fault here. There are people that have read data and made decisions and become quite soulless in doing that. I want us to connect back with source. I want to connect with content creators, because the reality is if something's not working over here, it's very difficult to us due to the size of the algorithm to change that. We need to come back over and create something new, positive content, love-filled content. And the more we feed into that space, the more that begins to dilute this space that's over here. We start to create an energy source which eats that up. The same way as the algorithm has come back and taken away the love in the room, when essentially we're at a time now where I don't see the anger and I don't see the nastiness and I don't see that sense of bitterness coming out of people. I see good people just confused with the fact that their heart space is in a slightly different space to here. So we've got music that's come with God's creation that would be an interesting space to go to look at that, clothing that's coming. And I would really like to connect with content creators and people that have been inspired by the issues that we're discussing here. And they are very large. I mean, because it took us many years to get to this space. So to articulate in a short space of time something that delivers real change. It's the first steps. It's the first motions of what we're doing now that may take 2 or 3. Maybe I don't know how long it's going to take to be able to do it. It will take as long as the engagement of people that want to move away from, as I say, cocaine-fueled demonic element content that's been created through algorithm data management, and move that across into something that's more heartfelt, wholesome, and rewarding.
Absolutely. Well, Damian, thank you very, very much for your time, and we'll speak again very soon. And God bless you.
Listen, I've really enjoyed that. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.